Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another delicious edition of Texas Oatmeal. We are having a pretty gloomy, nasty day here. It's May in Texas, and it should already be like 100, and instead it's 50-ish, I don't know, maybe 60 degrees outside and raining, so it's pretty cold. But we're here today to talk about the i3 again, and more specifically, the 5 things that I hate about this car. So let's get right into it. Well, guys, I filmed this entire episode on my drive over to McKinney. I actually stopped here. There's a place in McKinney where you can charge for free, although I'm not sure why. It's definitely something where it has a little scan thing where you can, like, through their app you can pay, but for some reason it's free. And there used to be 2 charge plugs or spaces or whatever. We're down to 1 because one of them is broken. These are really typically not available because it's in a office complex where people like to park in the electric only parking spaces. But for a while there, I would come over here and charge up at lunch or something, have my lunch right here. And yeah, I'm heading out to like a Mother's Day thing here in a little while. And I wanted to just go ahead and top off kind of at my halfway point. I ran the generator for a while to get here, and now we're just hanging out for a little bit. And I'm going to redo this video now instead of watching YouTube. So, 5 things I hate about the BMW i3. The first is kind of a small thing, and it's really not that big a deal, but it bugs me. And it's the fuel door. So the fuel door on this car, they get stuck from time to time. It's a recall that BMW is taking care of. They took care of it on mine. But even after the recall, where it just wouldn't open whatsoever without you using the little emergency release cable, there's like in the front, there's a little cable you can pull and like get the door to pop open manually if the electronic button doesn't work. But even then, and maybe after they fixed it, I'm not sure when it started happening, but I noticed it fairly recently, or started paying attention to it, that every time I would go to get fuel, I would have to hold the door closed for it to lock, and then mess with it a couple times to push it in to make it close. So I don't really know why it does that. It's like it doesn't catch fully. It's like it doesn't catch fully each time or something. I don't know, but you mess with it a couple times and get it to fully kind of close. It's like it stays locked and latched, but it's still popped up a little bit, like the hood on your regular car, how you can pop it open, but you still have to reach under there and get the latch to get it the rest of the way. It's like it's just popped open. But it's just really odd that it does that, and I don't know why. So yeah, I don't know, it annoys me. So the second thing I really don't like about this car is the seats. They're comfortable-ish. They're not great. They don't hold you in place very well. I mean, you can slide around a bunch, but they're just kind of annoying. They get really hot in the summer. Of course, this is the leather option, so they're not cooled seats. They are heated in the winter, which is nice, but not cooled. And at this price point, this is a $55,000 car. You can get cooled seats in a lot of other cars at that price point. Now, they're not exactly priced at that price for an electric car with cooled seats, but you know, whatever. It's an expensive car, and if I'm going to pay that much, I would expect cooled seats. I'm just nitpicking here. The other thing about them is they're not electric, they're not powered seats, so they're just normal, like you grab the thing here and you slide it forward and slide it back, you know, whatever. You know, that's fine, but to raise it up and down, if you want to change your seating height, it works like an office chair. So I've been in my Volkswagen back in the day, and it had like this lever where you kind of like pull it and it would raise you up a little bit, pull it again, raise you up a little bit, some kind of lever action, and then you could pump it down essentially. Well, this car is like an office chair, so if you're sitting in it, you can go down, but to get it back up, you have to kind of stand up out of the thing and get it to come back up to whatever position you had it at. It's really awkward, and I just basically don't ever do it, of course. But it's weird, like, why did they make it do that? I'm sure it's cheaper. But yeah, again, kind of nitpicking here, but they're not the best seats. So the third thing that really bugs me about this car are the tires, specifically the rear tires. The rear tires in this car wear out so fast, at least for me. I know I've been on the Facebook pages and the forums talking about this topic, and people are all over the map with rear tire wear. These tires are only like 5.5 inches wide in the rear and like 5 inches in the front. So they're like half the width of a normal standard tire. Well, you know, of a lot of tires. There are a lot of tires that are 10 inches wide. Some of them are like 8.5, whatever. But on this car, they're really narrow. So I don't know if that makes it worse that they wear out faster because they're so narrow, or what. They're narrow, I'm sure, because of efficiency, and they want you to get more mileage with a narrower tire. None of the other electric vehicles do that. They didn't put super small tires on the Kia or the Hyundai EVs. The Chevy Bolt doesn't have super skinny tires like this. They just have normal standard tires, whatever they are, 7.5, 8.5 wide, you know, whatever. But BMW thought it would be smart to make these little bitty tiny tires, and they're really tall. These are 19s on this car. There are some that have 20s, and the rear tires just wear out super fast. Specifically, the right tire for me wears out faster than the left. Maybe it needs an alignment. I don't know. It doesn't really pull one way or the other. But I'm sure it needs an alignment because the right rear tire is bald in less than 10,000 miles. I put these on there at about 18,000 miles. I'm at 26,000 miles now, and I need new rear tires. It's terrible. They're also expensive. They're like $300 a pair. Maybe a little more than that. I forget. But I need tires basically once a year for the rears. The fronts are lasting longer than that. Maybe 15,000 miles or something on the fronts, which I could deal with that. But less than 10,000 miles on the rear is just kind of ridiculous. I'm not sure why they wear out that fast. Again, I'm no expert here, but I feel like they should last a little longer than that. So the fifth thing, what am I on? I've forgotten how many I've said already. Seats, fuel cap, tires. Oh, okay, so the fourth thing that's annoying is this Harman Kardon stereo. So this car has the fully optioned packages, right? So the Harman Kardon stereo in this one, and it's not that great. It's got the tiniest little bit of bass, but it's not much. Maybe they do that because it's an electric vehicle and they don't want you to draw a lot of power, but I think you could have a little bit more and not take away that much power and make it better. You throw the Harman Kardon name on this car, or on the stereo system, and you would think it sounds incredible, and it sounds good, but there's no bass, not really, and it's not that great. I mean, the stereo that I had in my Jetta was better than this, and that Jetta was cheap. It was like 18 grand when I bought it or something, so it was used. I don't know what the sticker was on it, but probably like half the price of this car, even fully loaded, and that stereo was awesome. This stereo, not so much. So Harman Kardon speakers, whatever they're worth, they're probably not worth it. Okay, so the fifth thing is the biggest thing, and that's the range. So the range of this car is pathetic. It goes about 100 miles max on battery. And that's really driving slow, being careful in the summer, or at least warmer weather when it's like 80 or something outside. Never getting up to 60 or 70 mile an hour, like maybe doing 50 the whole way. You can maybe get 100 miles out of it. So the range anxiety here is nuts, through the roof. Now I have a cheater car, so it has the range extender, which is the whole problem with the fuel cap or whatever. So I've got the generator in the back, and it allows me to just turn it on at 75% or less. because I've coded this car so that you can do that. That's a standard feature in a European car, but in America, I think because of California, they decided that you couldn't turn the range extender on whenever you wanted, that it could only come on with 6% or less battery. Because when you turn it on before that, it kind of runs like a hybrid. Now, it's only got a little 2-gallon gas tank, so it will run the generator while you're driving for 2 gallons worth of gas, which gets you another 50 or 60 miles pretty much on average. But you can turn that thing on, and it runs like a hybrid, just charging the battery, never really running you're not driving on the engine power, because it's just a generator, but it charges your battery pretty quickly enough that you can, for the most part, keep up. You lose 1% or so, maybe 2% if you're on the highway, or you're on, some kind of hilly area. If you're going up a mountain or something, it's not going to keep up. But in Texas, where I live, it's pretty flat, so for the most part, it keeps up with, however fast I'm using the battery, the generator's charging it, and it keeps me pretty equal. Pretty much anyways. Good enough, within 1% or 2. So, I have the cheater car, and I still have range anxiety. Like, I want to run it on electric only. And I find myself turning it on at the range extender on at 75% just because I want to be able to run to and from the house on electricity as much as possible. So I know that sounds dumb. I'm turning on the range extender so that I can run on electricity later. But I don't like the car going below like 20%, or especially under 10%, because then I know it's going to kick the generator on automatically. And I don't like that. I don't want to get to that point, mostly because then I know my battery is 100% dead, and wherever I'm going, I'm purely relying on generator power. So I run it early to not let it ever run when it's too late. So yeah, the range is terrible, 100 miles or so on electricity, and that's being real generous. In the winter, 60 miles maybe or something before this thing would be just completely out of juice. And that's typical of electric vehicles anyways, but this thing is just pathetic. You can get a Chevy Bolt, a Hyundai Kona, a Kia Niro, obviously a Model 3 that all have 200 plus miles of range, and they're cheaper than this. You can get a really well outfitted Model 3 for $55 or so, very easily. But you get more range. So the range is terrible, and that's the biggest complaint that I see with these cars, which is why I got the range extender. I can't live without it. This is my only car now other than the Vanderhaal. And if I want to drive this around, across town, I've got to have a range extender to turn on when I feel like it. Otherwise, this car's no good to me. Unless I'm going to drive to and from work and back, or to and from work only, and never anywhere else. Don't go to lunch. And in the winter, charge up when I'm here, like come down the road and plug in where I am now to charge up to get me home. Like, I couldn't do it with a battery-only version. So that's the 5 complaints I have about the BMW i3. I love it. Other than that, I love the style because I love quirky cars and weird cars. I love that the interior is so weird. And yeah, it definitely still turns heads. You see Model 3s and Model S's everywhere. I see a BMW i3 once every month or something. Just never see them. So I still like that it's different, something else on the road that nobody really sees. And I still get compliments. You go through a drive-thru and people are like, "Oh, I like this car," because they just don't see them. So it stands out, and that was the whole point. I don't buy traditional cars too often. I want them to be unique, so it definitely is. Yes, that's it. So we'll catch you guys next time. I'm trying to upload once a week if I can. Hopefully there's content every week. I'm trying to go to a car show as often as I can and throw those up on there just because it's fun to film the car shows and see weird cars. Even though not a ton of people are watching it, I think the people who run in the car shows appreciate little quick videos being put up about their show. Either way, I like it, and I'm trying to do 1 video a week, so hopefully we can keep this up. We'll see. Sometimes I get lazy and I don't want to edit anything, but it is fun. So anyways, that's it for today. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.